Unite beyond boundaries. Innovate together. Joe's PANKRATION 2024. No border.
Please go ahead.
Hi, everyone. So nice to see that enthusiastic people joining this event during Saturday. And it's Dorian. I'm one of the AWS ambassador. We're working at Kloya. So today our topic will be application modernization with code refactoring. I'm sure this is an area that you probably may have worked on, and today we will dive into more. But as we have some limited duration, I will be skipping some topics a bit rapidly. Let's see how it goes. So today I will begin with a story. I'm always fascinated with Cuban cars. I'm not sure if you know their story behind them. Because of the sanctions, they have been there for a long time, and those car drivers have been working a lot to keep those cars up and running. And of course, they're keeping them up and running and working state with polishing them, with keeping them good looking externally. But as you may have heard about also, those cars, even you polish, you renew them, still they're not working efficiently, right? Because they have an old engine which burns money, not working efficiently, getting older and older. So just polishing them is not enough to make them run efficiently, right? So I found a similarity with this by containerizing Kubernetes applications, and running the applications on Kubernetes. But how? Consider this: you are polishing, you are packaging them, your legacy software within containers, trying to run them on Kubernetes. Yeah, that may still work. But I don't know if you heard about, but Japanese industry helped Cuban car drivers a lot with Toyota engines. And by the help of the Japanese engines, now Cuban car drivers can enjoy their maybe 50s, 60s cars still running great, right? What's the reason behind them? Because they have changed the engine with a brand new Toyota engines, and which help them to run efficiently. So I found a similarity with this and app modernization with code refactoring. Why? Because changing the engine of the car means you are going deeper into your software engine. Think about, you have a legacy software. Just polishing it with Kubernetes containers still gives some value, but think about you are changing your engine, right? So you obtain a modernized vintage Cuban car with maybe microservices, driven architectures, single page applications. So that's the value behind it, right? So who am I? I'm an ex-CTO of Amazon subsidiary, founder of Kloya. You can reach me out on X with Dorian, so one of the ambassadors. And who we are obsessive about application modernization since 2015, have launched several projects, delivered several projects, and one of the modernization launch partners. So I'm not sure if you're aware, but majority of application modernization projects don't involve code refactoring. Surprising, right? They just polish the car. They just change the exterior, how it's looking, but they don't change the engine. And most of those projects are still called application modernization. Should we agree if they should be called as application modernization or not? Yes, it's a noisy word, application modernization. And still those software are burning money, cost a lot, because still engine is old engine. So you only change how it's looking, how it's running, but still the engine is an old engine burning money, right? So So first of all, let's check the modernization without code refactoring. As I mentioned, the list can, we can extend the list, but without code refactoring, what can be done? Up to a level, we can make cloud native transformations with containers, Kubernetes, with the same software, just containerizing it, running on Kubernetes, or running it on Graviton or ARM, or adding some DevOps automations, increasing observability, or increasing horizontal scaling. Those can be the modernization steps which can be done without any code refactoring. That's all maybe we have heard about. That's all usually common, which is not the topic of today. Don't worry. I am sure you heard about those a lot. And you will not hear them again from me today. So, but as you may have aware of, cloud native transformation, this is one of our projects which we have transformed one of our customers from left to right, which means that their utilization of VMs were around 10% of CPU. And after containerizing it, of course, based on your policies, Kubernetes policies, you can go utilize your CPU more than the one on the left-hand side, which means doing the same work with less number of servers, right? Which is still a good value, yes, which is still a good value. Or you can run your applications on Graviton or Graviton 4, which is the new one, maybe you have heard about, which is still creates value without code refactoring. Yes, but today I will be mostly mentioning about the steps to modernize with code refactoring and how AWS contributes to that mission. Not just what are the topics, but how also AWS will help you guys in that journey. So, as you can imagine, there are lots of benefits: saving money, increasing efficiency, automation. There are lots of benefits. I will not go into benefits, but I will try to dive in the steps to achieve to this target. So the most popular one is maybe considered as splitting the monolith. I'm not just referring microservices here. There's a specific reason of it, because not necessarily you may move to a microservices architecture. You may go with a domain services. You may go with preferably a modular monoliths, or you may still go to a microservices if your environment or your organization is ready for it. But as a topic, as a generic topic, category, let's keep it as splitting the monolith, okay? So in that journey, we always tend to do things at once, which is also referred as a big bang in the industry, which means shutting down your existing legacy and running a brand new one from scratch. But that usually does not work as it should be, because still you need to maintain your existing software while developing the new one. So this is not the pattern that we as Kloya noticed works relatively works great on all projects. So one popular pattern that you may heard about is Strangler Fig, which is step-by-step splitting the monolith, keeping the existing legacy while running the legacy side by side, which seems great on that picture, but which has several challenges. Today is not the day to dive into those challenges, but there are always some methods and approaches to overcome the challenges, like keeping the data synchronized, or with parallel run, or with some dark launch, or using techniques like branch by abstraction, or using techniques like on AWS, like VPC mirroring. So there are several different techniques to overcome, but there are still challenges. But still, this is a more preferred path that we also follow during our projects. And how AWS contributes to this journey. I'm not sure if you heard about. There is a AWS service called AWS Migration Hub, which helps you to create a splitted architecture. Of course, it's up to you to choose what to split in your code, but AWS helps to create the underlying infrastructure and the managing the traffic between the legacy and the monolith and the new application, the new splitted microservices or module or domain services. It's up to you. Using Lambda or using VPC, it's also a parameter that you will choose. So AWS Migration Hub is a great way to refactor your application, which helps you to accelerate. Not just this, but AWS also contributes with a tool that may not be that popular or you may not have heard about, but it's specific for .NET. It's an extractor tool which extracts some of your code into separate services. It visualizes your .NET code, and you may choose the bounded. You may see the bounded contexts, and you may choose some part of your application. Let's call it inventory, for instance, in that example, and it creates a project on if you are using Visual Studio, creates the code, creates the project files, and creates the controller. As you can see, it created an inventory controller, a separate one, and created the files, which you can see on the right-hand side. And of course, this accelerates. This is not just end-to-end refactor your code, but it may accelerate your journey on splitting your monolith. So the second one is we have found a word in our organization. We call it deep Windowsification. And I hope it will be included to Oxford's dictionary maybe in the future. Not now, not yet. So this means getting rid of Windows, but this still needs some type of code refactoring. As you may be aware of, still ARM and Windows Server has not fully compliance, not fully supported. But on the other hand, if we check the compatibility with ARM on .NET is getting better and better, beginning from version 7. So which is still worth to migrate our code to ARM-based or new .NET, let's say, which also helps us together with .NET refactoring tool of AWS. So this is the other tool of AWS, which is called AWS Toolkit, helps you to modernize or refactor your .NET code to be compliant with .NET Core and new versions of .NET. Worth to check it out. So the next topics are more generic topics, not .NET or not Windows. So the third one is event-driven architectures. So this is, as you may have already aware of, AWS already built on an event-driven architecture itself, I mean. And as you may also remember, last reInvent, Werner has had a presentation, and he called "The World is Asynchronous." Why I put this presentation or his image here? Because most of the softwares are still built on synchronous way of doing things, while moving them into asynchronous creates value for the software, for your architecture. The next topic is CQRS and event sourcing, which is a wider topic built on the top of event-driven architectures. So worth to check it out if you haven't heard about. The last one is, and eventual consistency come with CQRS event sourcing. Last one is cache layers. So cache layers has how AWS contributes it with CloudFront cache, with AWS API Gateway cache, or with data cache using Elastic Cache or other cache, Memcache, but still needs some type of code refactoring and creates value. So there are several case studies that has been around regarding those, and I think this is the time that already I have to finish, and I had to keep it a bit fast. But if you have any questions around those topics, you can always get in touch with me. Thank you.